I just have a this meeting is being live streamed. What's happening? Someone is going live. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Is it live?
I couldn't get you, sir.
No, is it going live?
This meeting is being live streamed.
Yeah, that's what it shows.
Okay, we can say okay. Got it. Just click got it, sir. New Street Journal is one of the well-known newspaper of US, sir.
Yeah. So New World Information Communication.
I was in mute when I was answering. Sorry.
Oh, okay, no problem. No. So a little more information on New World Information Communication Order. Okay, it was what is this? The term was coined in a debate over media representations of the developing world in UNESCO in the late 90s and early 1980s. As I mentioned, okay, non-aligned countries, they came together, they have realized that not adequate percentage of news about the developing countries is shared. Okay, no due respect is given to the developing countries with regard to media coverage or dissemination of information, dissemination of news about the countries was felt by non-aligned countries. Okay, non-aligned countries, mostly the developing countries. So they expressed to the UNESCO, and the UNESCO appointed a person, namely the Nobel Peace Prize laureate Sion McBride, which was charged with the creation of a set of recommendations to make global media representation more equitable. The McBride Commission produced a report which is titled as Many Voices, One World, which it outlined the main philosophical points of New World Information Communication Order. So the fundamental issues of imbalance in global communication had been discussed for some time. What are they? The American media scholar Wilbur Stram noted in 1964 that the flow of news among nations is very thin. Okay, you know, thin and thick. Thick means more. Okay, thin means very light. Okay, with regard to attention, that much attention is given to the developed countries, a little to less developed ones. That important events are ignored and reality is distorted. The important events are ignored. As a result, what happens? The reality. So even today, people think that India is poor. They don't have proper facilities. So they look down upon us. From a more radical perspective, From a more radical perspective, Herbert Schiller observed in 1969 the developing countries had little meaningful input into decisions about radio frequency allocations for satellites at a key meeting in Geneva in 1963. This is the domination that the developed countries have on the developing nations. So they did not give due consideration. Okay, due consideration for the radio frequency allocations. This is one imbalance that the non-aligned countries felt. Schiller pointed out that many satellites had military applications. Intelsat, which was set up for international cooperation in satellite communication, was also dominated by the United States. Okay, dominated by the United States. In the 1970s, these and other issues were taken up by non-aligned movement, debated within the United Nations and UNESCO. New World Information Communication grew out of the new International Economic Order 1974. From 1976 to 1978, the New World Information Communication Order was generally called the shorter version. Okay, the New World Information Order or the New International Information Order. Okay, interchangeably they were used. The new order plan was textually formulated by Tunisia's information minister Mustafa Masmoudi. Okay, he submitted working paper number 31 to the McBride Commission. These proposals of 1978 were titled the Mass Media Declaration. So he is the one who played a major role in submitting the working paper with regard to McBride report, the many voices, one world. Many voices, one world. See, many voices. The coining of the words talks about, okay, talks volumes about the issue. So what are the issues? Okay, the issues with regard to news reporting. News reporting on the developing world that reflects the priorities of news agencies in London. London means UK, Paris, France, and New York, USA. Reporting of natural disasters and military coups rather than the fundamental realities. At the time, 4 major news agencies control over 80% of global news flow. What are the 4 major news agencies? Associated Press, Agency France Presse, Reuters, and then United Nations International, I suppose. Yeah, these are the 4 which controlled over the 80% of global news flow. Okay. Next one is unbalanced flow of mass media from the developed world, especially the United States, to the underdeveloped countries. Everyone watches American movies and television shows. Even today, I mentioned, okay, some of the urban youth watch the foreign webinar series like Friends or whatever. Okay. Next, advertising agencies in the developed world have indirect but significant effects on mass media in developing countries. Some observers also judge the messages of these ads to be inappropriate for the third world. So they project third world countries in a way that is not acceptable through advertisements. Next one is unfair division of the radio spectrum, then allocation of geostationary orbit, satellite broadcasting of television signals into third world countries. So these are not part of the book that I was given, but I just wanted to give you more information so that you are well equipped with the New World Information Communication Order. Next one is the Information Society, that the World Summit on Information Society. It is the first event of its kind within the United Nations to deal with the issue of information in the digital era. So what is it? It took place in 2 phases. One in Geneva, 2001 to 3. Next one is Tunis, 2003 to 5. This complexity of the issues discussed transformed into an ongoing process that it will last until 2050. If you remember 2002, 2015, they had millennium goals. Have you heard of UN millennium goals, students? They have listed off certain millennium goals to achieve within 15 years. Yes? Hare Krishna, are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Now, it ended with the Tunis Agenda, a document that proposes 10 priority lines of action for the issues that reached a consensus and the creation of a digital solidarity fund. Okay, you can go through this. There we have, I'm giving you more details which are not present even in the book that is provided. Hard power, soft power. Okay, just to browsing, going through the slides for your more information, okay. Okay, next one is political, economic, and cultural dimensions of international communication. With regard to political, spies from developed countries operating in the rival countries under various covers to collect information, pass on the same to the motherland is not a cinematic exercise. It's not cinematic exercise. Okay, every country has a spy. Okay, every country, though it is illegal, but they do employ people in order to get information, that's what is projected even in films. Okay, ultimately films are what? Films are representation of a society, representation of a society. Okay. Why they employ? Because information is power. Information is power. Power. And of course, information is also a money. Money. Okay. Information also is money. I am not sure whether it is true, but I have heard people sharing, okay, people talking about it. No, it seems, I'm not sure, I acknowledge that it seems that when tsunami hit India, Japan knew it's in that it will be done. But I do not know how far it is true. Japan asked for certain amount of money which we were not able to pay. These are talked about stories, but the point is information is power, information is money. That's what I want to drive home to you. So ever since the USA UK exchanged a telegraphic message for the first time in 1858, the modern era of international communication began. Okay, here kindly note the highlighted ones. It is widely alleged that the Russian government interfered in the 2016 US presidential elections by using communication as a tool with the sole aim of harming the campaign of Hillary Clinton. If you see 2016 US election, all of us thought Hillary Clinton will be the next president. But towards the end, something happened with the use of social media. Donald Trump came into picture. So people allege that Russian government interfered in this matter. How did it interfere? So they have employed spies. That's the point clearly communicated here. Next, political communication, mass political debate, public behavior, public opinion. All these are four crucial elements that have a bearing on democracy. Democracy. UNESCO realized the need for an in-depth study on the issues related to international communication. What are the issues related to international communication? As discussed before, Hari Krishna, like imbalance with regard to dissemination of news, radio frequency allocations, geostationary orbits,
I didn't get
advertising
the question, sir.
agencies. Okay, all these points. Okay, these are the issues. Okay. So as I discussed already, so there's a UNESCO appointed a committee led by C.N. McBride. He came up with a McBride Commission report, and the report suggested where report gave certain recommendations to follow so that equitable communication is achieved. Equitable communication is achieved, but it is not accepted by the USA and UK because these people are dominating, having hegemony. Okay, they were imperialistic in their nature. Hence, they have opposed and came out of UNESCO or UNO, and then later on they joined. Okay, but when it was implemented, they were out of this international organization. Next is international communication is propelled by the social media, brought in a lot of political changes. Okay, the role of social media. Okay, today social media plays a major role. It can construct or destruct. Do you agree with me, Hari Krishna? Social media. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Donald Trump became very famous towards the end because of social media. Okay. Okay. According, in my opinion, okay, in my opinion, Jagan Mohan Reddy came into power. Of course, besides his Padayatra, the social media played a major role to come to power. Okay. So international communication is propelled by the social media. Okay. So even we have Arab Spring examples. Okay. So Me Too movements. Okay. Me Too movement that is raised in social media, hashtag movements. So all these things are happening with the tool called social media. Next one is economic. The gravity model of international trade, first introduced by Walter Izard in 1950s, predicts that the bilateral trade flow between two countries based on economic sizes and distance between these two countries. Okay, suppose if you are having any agreement or trade between two countries, they should consider what is the distance between these two countries. Okay, and what is their economic size. Okay, these two factors play a major role. Okay, major with the World Trade Organization. So it has opened markets for foreign operators also to operate. Okay, so some countries became part of World Trade Organization. From there, free market. Okay, markets for foreign operators were open. Cultural, global communications are titled in favor of Western countries. Okay, according to an argument. The highlighted one I would like to concentrate. Culture of the rich nations is becoming pop culture. I have mentioned culture of the rich nations, culture of the dominant class, culture of the dominant society becomes the pop culture, Okay, today, even in organizations, institutions, okay, if you are an officer, you should come in a suit with a tie tucked in, well dressed. So where did we imbibe this culture? Where did we draw this culture from?
Western
Hope you are
culture.
following. Yeah.
Western culture.
Yeah.
From
Imitation and
Western.
emulation are now very easy with websites and YouTube channels. Okay. Now we have access to YouTube channels, websites. Okay. So we are all emulating, we are imitating. So that's why now the saying goes, West is the best. Yeah, Hare Krishna, so far clear?
Not true. Yes, sir.
Please stop me if you have any doubts, okay?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Next, communication and information as a tool of equality and exploitation. The magic bullet or hypodermic needle theory, I do not know, we have learned, you must have learned in your communication theories.
Sir,
Okay,
first
magic bullet, yeah. So magic bullet theory and hypodermic needle theory are, no, audience are considered passive, okay? You inject, people just consume, people just read it, they don't think about, they are not active audience, they are passive audience, okay? In other words, the public can't escape from the media's influence, and passive audience is highly affected by these messages, okay? As long as we are passive, we are influenced. If we are active, active audience means to say, critically think, question, then you are not easily influenced. So you know what you want to get. Okay. So suppose if you know that Telangana today or Namaste Telangana are from are supporting political party of supporting TRS political party, then you know, you can easily judge, okay, whatever the government says, they okay it. But on the contrary, you look other newspapers and read the critique of it, you will have a different opinion altogether. So only the active audience will do that. Okay. The power of social media, as I mentioned in the previous slide, it can construct or destruct. It can also even.
But the
Yes,
thing
Hare
is,
Krishna.
sir.
Yes, Hare Krishna.
Yeah, but the thing is, we are lacking the truth.
Yeah.
Journalism is supposed to be like truth, representing the truth, but because of this political and favored news,
Yes.
we are,
Yes.
you know,
You
we
are
are biased
absolutely
and we are
correct.
not giving.
You
the
are
truth.
absolutely correct. In the subsequent slides, you will see something called propaganda. Okay, propaganda. You will much more understand better why we are not able. That's why Noam Chomsky says news gets shaped, misshaped, and reshaped. Okay, you will come to know as we go ahead. Next, what are the problems and prospect of international communication? Okay, we know fake news. Okay, and we are in the overloaded information. Okay, overloaded information. Okay, these two are the problems, and so many initiatives are taken in order to teach youth or young students how to combat fake news. Okay, different tools are developed, InVid for video. Okay, and then how to combat fake news with regard to images, with regard to content, with regard to videos. Okay, all these are there. I hope you have all learned or well informed in these two areas. Global communication system. We are living in a globalized world wherein global interdependence for people, societies, and culture is the new norm of life. It's a double-edged weapon. It's very easy for powerful countries to set agendas on political, financial, military, and religious fronts to dominate other countries. This is the problem. One country wants to dominate the other. One wants to dominate the other. Okay. See, for example, the petrol price in India is determined by some factors in some other countries. Are you following me? Hare Krishna?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay, they have given a case
My net
study.
is little slow, sir.
Little slow because Hare Krishna, I'm going fast. I am given only 4 classes to complete the whole syllabus.
Oh, no problem, sir.
Okay,
No, my net is slow to respond you back.
okay, it's okay, well, very good, very good. So it's given a case study. It's a digital India where provision of broadband is provided for all. So even if you go to today, if you go to railway stations, you are given internet facility. Okay, so all these things are probably. You please go ahead, go through the. I do not know. Please help me to know that are you given this book, Hare Krishna?
Yes, sir.
This notes is being given to you.
No, means we got the book, sir. That's
okay, you got the book. Okay, please go through this case study that is being present in the unit 1. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So with this, we completed unit 1. We'll go ahead with unit 2. So unit 2 is approaches to theorizing international communication. Theorizing international communication. So first theory we talk about is modernization theory. Modernization theory elaborates the development process within the societies. Within the society, how a society gets transformed. How a society gets transformed. We have transformed from agrarian society to industrial society. Do you agree with me, students?
I didn't get you, sir.
No. Point is modernization theory elaborates on the development process within the societies. Okay. We have transformed from one particular society to another society. For example, agrarian society to industrial society.
Okay.
Where we have employed technology, where we have employed machines.
Yeah.
For the production. So I'm saying the transition is there. Okay. Transition is there. The modernization theory has been evolved from idea of progress, which propagated the idea of self-development, which leads to the development of the society. When one individual gets developed, automatically a group gets developed, automatically a village gets developed, automatically a particular society gets developed. Hence, the basic unit for change or development is the self. It developed the concept of the technological and economic development that can change the people's perception. Okay. Here, the ideas of French sociologist Émile Durkheim provided strong foundation for the development of modernization theory. What is that? He compared the development of society with that of the evolution of an organism. As the organism evolves, the more complex it becomes. Likewise, the more technological advancements we come across, the more complexity we encounter, more problems, more challenges we encounter. Likewise, when the society develops, the complexity increases. Okay, for example, in agrarian society, okay, so people came together to work. People came together to weeding or whatever, harvest or harvesting, all those things. People came together and worked together, and even the culture of communication maintained very well. So when there is a shift from agrarian society to industrial society, okay, so the culture of communication varied, work culture varied. Okay, though there is a development, along with development, there are challenges. Are you with me, Hare Krishna? Following me? Oh, Krishna left. So a little more explanation with regard to modernization theory. So dominant paradigm, advocates of, okay, fine. The process of development involved a transition from traditionalism to modernization in a unidirectional way, with countries ultimately reaching the status of the Western countries. That's what I said. West is the best. They want to incorporate whatever the Western countries are following with regard to culture, with regard to lifestyle, with regard to living conditions. Okay, development seen as economic growth. That's why industrialization became a race of catching up with the West. Okay, development was considered from the point of view of economic growth. So hence modernization involved infrastructural changes such as dams were built, highways were created, social changes such as getting rid of the perceived ills of traditional beliefs and practices, and revamping educational systems with an emphasis on modern science and rationality. So more importance is given to science. Enlightenment period is given more importance. Okay, humanities were not given that. That's why you see a lot of enrollment into sciences than the humanities. Political changes such as create an efficient bureaucracy. This three-pronged strategy known as modernization theory. Modernization theory focused on deficiencies in the poorer countries and ways to overcome these deficiencies. And okay, they thought that poorer countries have to be transformed from one part. So poorer countries needed a transition from one particular society to another particular society, because this traditional society, okay, they're all stagnant. They were unchanging. They were not innovative in their work. For example, plowing. Okay, not profit making, not progressing, not growing. Hence, this traditional society needed a transition to modern society. How is it possible? It's only through economic growth, ultimately introducing the capitalism. And hence, here we have a W. Rostow, who proposes 5 stages of economic growth. Okay, in his book, The Stages of Economic Growth. So what are the 5 steps? Okay, every society would pass through these 5 economic stages, namely traditional society, preconditions for takeoff, drive to maturity, the age of high mass consumption. Preconditions for takeoff. Okay, we have seen what the tradition society. The tradition society is unchanging, not inventing. Okay, not inventing. That we have seen in the previous slide. Preconditions. What are the preconditions for takeoff? New production methods in agriculture and industry through the application of modern technology. Okay, incorporating machines. Okay, plowing with cows. There used to be utilized animals were utilized to plow. No, introduction of tractors. So that's the modern technology that you have utilized in order for economic growth. So mobilization of savings and development of infrastructure such as banking, taking loans, insurances, transportation, communication. This would result in preconditions for takeoff of the economy. What is the takeoff stage? Takeoff stage would lead to a transformation of the economy from a traditional to modern state with a steady economic growth rate. Obviously, okay, if you plow with cows or ox, it will take a lot of time. That if you plow with tractors, you are able to save time, save a lot of energy. Okay, so as a result, you can go early, harvesting, all those things you can do it. Okay, the drive to maturity would lead to sustained economic growth and integration into international markets, international, entering into international market, whatever the products that you have come out with. So are you able to market it well? Okay. The age of high mass consumption would arrive when majority of the population could go beyond consumption of basic necessities to luxury goods and services. High consumption, high mass consumption. Okay. See, today we are not able to satisfy ourselves with one mobile phone. People will have 2, 3 mobile phones. They will say personal mobile phone, professional mobile phone. Okay. They will not have one Gmail account. They will have more Gmail accounts. They'll have more Facebook accounts. So high mass consumption. So same likewise with products, as I mentioned, cell phones. You can apply it to the same with other things. So these are not mentioned in the book. I am giving you extra information, students. Daniel Lerner, okay, he suggests that the evolution from traditional to modern societies follow a causal path, okay, follow a causal path that leads to increased mass media use. Okay, causal path. One leads to the other. He suggested that individuals needed the capacity to identify new aspects of their environment, an attribute called empathy, which was to be an important skill for people in transition from traditional to modern social settings. Or empathy means that you are able to learn new things because you are in transition from traditional society to modern society. You need to equip yourself with knowledge. For example, utilizing a technology. But today, many old people do not know to operate mobile phone. Do you agree with me, Hare Krishna? Hare Krishna is not there. Okay.
Yes,
Likewise.
sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, Chandrasekhar. So people need to have that particular attribute called empathy, according to Daniel Lerner. Empathy means you need to be very much literate, urban in your approach, and industrial, and very active. The modernized paradigm, it envisioned development as a challenge to bring the underdeveloped countries out of their conditions of poverty by modernizing them and by promoting economic growth spurred by free market approach. Free market means an economic system based on supply and demand with little or no government control at all. Okay, so these are all additional information, students, you can go through. Okay, at technocrat level, you can see the modernization. Political level, you can see the modernization. Economic level, you can have a critique also. So David McClelland, okay, he proposes a mental virus named N-Arch, which means achievement. Arch means achievement. Okay, people should have an attitude to achieve. Okay, people, in order to achieve, you need to work more efficiently and more faster. Okay, and according to Alex Inclis, who is a modern man. Modern man needs to be open to new ideas. He or she should have a ability to form, hold opinions, democratic attitude, ability to plan, belief in human efficacy, sense of human dignity. So all these qualities, if a person possesses, then he or she is considered as a modern man, according to Alex Inclis. So this is with regard to modernization. Next, dependency theory. Dependency theory is a means to address the role of news agencies in the international distribution of news content. Okay. See, as I mentioned, I have also mentioned about imperialism. Okay, imperialism, the domination of USA or UK over developing countries. That's what the point is communicated here. The dependencies become more on international media by developing countries. If you depend on such a way, the media imperialism continues to be upheld by USA and UK. So here, kindly note this. Oliver Boyd Barrett and Terry Rantanen discuss the roots of dependency theory as stemming from the viewpoint that agencies such as Reuters, UK, okay, were seen as significant in certain British territories during the 1930s in promoting British trade interests. So it occupies more amount of space from the point of view of international communication. Little more we will see here. So a little more on media imperialism. Okay. It refers to monopolization of media, concentration of media industries, or domination or control of third world or developing countries' media by the capitalist Western media like USA, UK. The McBride Commission report says in the communication industry, there is a relatively small number of predominant corporations which integrate all aspects of production and distribution, which are based in the leading developed countries and which have become transnational in their operations. Okay, every country has their own wings, their own uh, uh, operations. Okay, I would like to show you the percentage. I don't know this slide. Information. Here, kindly note here. The largest news agencies, UPI, United Press International, gets 80% of its funding from US newspapers. A survey in the mid-1980s found that UPI devoted 71% of its coverage to the United States, 9.6 to Europe, 5.9 to Asia, 3.2 to Latin America, 3% to Middle East, and 1.8% to Africa. Kindly see the imbalance, the inequality that is present in the dissemination of information, that which was found in 1980s. This was one of the reasons for the rise of the McBride Commission. Okay, these are all additional information, students. You can go through later. Next one is structural imperialism. Structural imperialism. What does it mean? Galton defines the imperialistic relationship as a harmony of interest existing between the center, that means the elite group, the elite individuals, the elite institutions, the elite organizations. So center and of the core nation and the center of the periphery nation. Periphery means, for example, let us say center and periphery. Center means the developed countries, you can say. Periphery means the developing countries, you can say. So he has named it center and periphery. Combined with an absence of such common interest between the peripheries of each or between the countries as wholes. On balance, the structural result is beneficiary primarily to the central portion of the core countries in the relationship. Okay, those who are in close conformity with the center, that is the developed countries, will benefit with regard to news dissemination, with regard to any relation, with regard to any funding. Okay, they get benefited. The periphery who are not able to reach them will get suffer. According to Galton, peripheral nations tend to interact only vertically with their core nation, not horizontally with each other. So this is the problem. Okay, this is a problem. So for example, developing countries, they don't have good relationship with other developing countries. For example, in a class, there are average students, 10 people. They don't have good communication among themselves. They don't come together. They don't come and study so that they get good marks in the next exams. They always interact with the clever students, thinking that the clever fellow will help him. But it is not the case. The clever fellow will take advantage of the average students. Are you able to follow me, students? Am I audible and clear? Chandrasekhar?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Wonderful. The dominant vertical relationship creates inequities between the periphery and the core. The lack of horizontal relationship within the periphery maintains and reinforces the equitable relationship. Just because they don't have a good relationship between equals. Okay, horizontal means equals. Okay, equals. That gives rise to domination of the core, the center, the developed countries. If all the developing countries do not come together and have a good relationship, the developed countries will take advantage of that and continue to dominate. A key expression of this, according to Galton, is control of the major international media by core countries, with the result that center news takes up much larger portion of the periphery news than vice versa. See here, as just mentioned in the previous PPT, media imperialism. Okay, the center news takes up a much larger portion of periphery news. Periphery means the developing. Only the developed countries take predominant space in the news. Next one is hegemony. Hegemony in simple terms means domination, control, showing power on one society. Okay, domination over one society, domination over one group, domination over one country. Simple terms, hegemony means domination. The concept was coined by Antonio Gramsci in 1971, which refers to the moral, philosophical, political leadership of a social group, okay, which is not gained by force but by an active consent of their social groups obtained by taking control of culture and ideology. So it's an ideology. Okay, dominant. See, Chandrasekhar, are you a Telugu or a Hindi speaking person? I mean,
Telugu, sir. Telugu, English.
okay, fine, very good. I just want to give you an example. See, in Rangasthalam, have you watched Rangasthalam movie?
Yes, sir.
See, Jagapati Babu is the president. Whomsoever passes through his house, people have to lower their lungi. Okay, they have to go in one way. Have you
Remove
observed?
the
Have you noted
slippers. Yes, sir. Slippers also.
that? Slippers. See,
While they're
that's
walking,
called
they have to stand beside the road.
exactly. You're correct. So this is called hegemony. So the president has created rules such a way that you need to obey me. This is the rule you should follow. If you don't follow, he will show his power. He will kill you. That's all. So in that particular film, people raised their voice against president. As a result, what happened? They were killed. That's how the dominant society keeps power over the other people. Are you following me, Chandrasekhar?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
During this process, the leading social group exerts its impact and gains its legitimacy mainly through social mechanisms such as education, religion, family, and mass media. Education. Okay, educate. I am sorry, I'm not going into details. We learn very little about Ambedkar in school.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we learn more about Nehru, we learn more about Gandhiji, all the people. See, this is one way to education is one institution through which hegemony is shown.
Sir, really, sir. Correct.
Okay, religion, even religion also. Okay, that's why Karl Marx called religion is the opium of the people.
Sir.
Okay, next family, even family. Okay, even in the family, father wants to dominate mother. I mean, of course, husband wants to dominate wife wants to dominate children. Yeah, so
Yes, sir.
mass media, even media also. Okay, whose views or who sets the agenda? Okay, I just want to show you a video clip. I don't know. It will take time. Maybe next class I will show you. Yeah, okay. Did you watch Dhruva film? Chandrasekhar.
No, sir. No, sir.
Dhruva, okay, you try to watch. There is a particular sequence where he talks about media. Okay, who ultimately decides what people should think? It's businessman. It's the corporate.
Business.
It's the corporate people because they fund. Okay.
India going on, no, sir. Ambani and Adani.
See, that's what happening. Ambani and Adani. So that's why people said India is being run by WS. Ambani and Adani. Okay. Based on the definition of hegemony, media hegemony means the dominance of certain aspects of life and thought by the penetration of a dominant culture and its values into social life. One particular group dominating the other group. If you try to revolt, that's all. Your life is at risk. So a little more information is given here in another PowerPoint presentation. Okay, these are my personal notes which I have developed for my students. I am just sharing. He is Antonio Gramsci. He's an Italian political theorist. Okay, Communist Party of Italy. Okay, so hegemony. So the image itself image itself shows. Yeah, USA wants to have control over other countries. Okay, hegemony is the way in which those in power maintain their control. I'm just going through the slides, Chandrasekhar, so that you have an understanding. The theory claims that the ideas of the ruling class come to be seen as the norm. No, the ideas of the ruling class, as I said, Rangasthalam, the president norms become the order of the day. Okay, hegemony, even today, hegemony is present in the media. If you take films, okay, NTR came, afterwards his son Harikrishna came, Nandamuri Balakrishna came, then Junior NTR, Kalyan Ram, Tarak Ram,
Chiranjeevi family also there.
Chiranjeevi mega family, Chiranjeevi came,
Nageshwara families.
Nagababu, Pawan Kalyan, now Ramcharan Tej, Ramcharan, Varun Tej, Sai Dharma Tej. See, they want to dominate
Society.
Yeah. So able to follow the point domination, hegemony.
Sir, very much interested in Antonio Gramsci, sir. Because
me?
Gramsci, sir, I studied his stories also, sir.
Wonderful. Very good. Very good. Next one is media hegemony. We have already discussed in the previous slides. Okay. Need not to waste time here. So next propaganda. Okay, another interesting topic. Propaganda. Okay. So we have propaganda means as a influencing persons, influencing people through ideas and information. Okay, ideas and information. I'm just giving you a simple explanation. So we have three prominent personalities with regard to propaganda. They are Harold Noswell, Noam Chomsky, and Walter Lippmann. According to the notes and syllabus, we have only Noam Chomsky's model. Okay, I'm not going in detail with Harold Noswell and Walter Lippmann. Okay, I'm just going through the slides. How the word came into existence, the history is given here. So what sort of propaganda? We have types of propaganda like white propaganda, black propaganda, gray propaganda. Okay, engineering of consent. Okay, so I'm just going directly with Noam Chomsky. So these are all there. Harold Noswell. Okay, Noam Chomsky. Okay. The propaganda model of media control was introduced by Edward S. Herman and Noam Chomsky in their book Manufacturing Consent, Political Economy of the News Mass Media. Okay, Chandrasekhar, I will take it up in the next class. Now it's 4 o'clock. I have one more class. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, thank you so much, Chandrasekhar, for patient listening. If you have any doubts, let me know.
No, sir. No doubt, sir.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thanks.